we interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you some live action news straight from the DZ. Right now, cum grenades and cum guns are running amok, along with a lot of rioting, fire grenades, canisters, you name it, everything is ablaze. Oh! Yeah. Welcome back to another Division 2 build video. But if you would be so kind, please show some love to that like button. Also, ground and pound and smash that sub button if you happen to be new to the channel. And don't forget to reach up there, trigger that bell, and turn on post notifications, so that way you never miss a live stream or a video that is uploaded. Well, as you've seen in the first initial clip, yeah, the DZ is pretty much set ablaze and on fire by the canister chem launcher, along with the sticky burn bomb, or more predominantly the cum gun, as I call it, the ensnare chem launcher. But that's predominantly what you see in the dark zone. But now that I concocted this, I really wasn't going to, just because the current state of the game, and with the new Iron Horse raid out, I don't really have too much time to venture into the dark zone these days until I get my teammates and my clan members successfully through the Iron Horse raid. But I entertained in this still went in there because I had been away for the last 2 months and just came back to the game due to health reasons. So I wanted to check it out and see what all the uproar is about. So I came up with this, and also was asking me to do this and put together this build in the comments section. And if you want extensive gameplay, we were in a heroic level 4 control point, and multiple elite patrols and convoys came in at once, along with rogue agents, and it was a straight up slugfest. But I can't believe I survived it, as long as I did and didn't go down. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but was able to pick up my teammates and stay alive and keep everything going as well as I did. So I tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and send that gameplay over to you right now. If you don't want to watch its entirety, you can just fast forward it into the build. But I'm gonna send you over to that. We'll see you guys and gals back here in just a moment. Got one behind you. Mm.
Oh my god.
But you must say my survivability is pretty dope. Ah!
I'm surrounded.
Yep.
There's like they all surrounded me again. It's like, you are not going anywhere. Oh. Damn.
Man, you gotta be able to, that shotgun, he hadn't reloaded it yet.
Oh, you mean the one with the 25 bullets in it?
Yeah!
25 bullets? The endless ammo?
Alright, I'm gonna try to get to you.
Help.
But I'm in a sticky situation myself.
Medic. Medic.
Dude, you see all this? If you look at my screen,
Is there anyone out there? Okay, try to survive, man. Try to survive. I'm coming back.
I'm not waiting on that. I'm coming back.
oh, I'm surviving all right. I'm running low on ammo. All right, as you can see, it was a pretty dicey situation there, but we, managed to come out on top, and I was actually quite proud and pleasant of this particular build. I'm usually utilizing the sharpshooter specialist. Because if you do not know, because some people, choose to use other specialists when they are using Intimidate, but with the Sharpshooter, even though it's minuscule as far as its bonus armor, but just going into cover, as I'll show you, popping into cover, and see, even though you can barely see it, I get one little blue health bar, just one. But as you'll see on the screen, it procs Intimidate. Now, if you take damage, of course, it'll knock it away very quickly. You just come out of cover and then go right back in, and then you immediately get back to that 1 bar of armor, so that way you have Intimidate procced. And then, of course, if you are pushed in any way by enemies, whether it be PvP or PvE, then you will proc the Adrenaline Rush and then get the bonus armor from it. And depending on the number of enemies, stacks up to 3 times, you can get up to 69% bonus armor. And even though it's just for 5 seconds, if you are in cover the whole entire time while you're being pushed, then it gives you at least 2 outlets in which to always consistently have Intimidate procced. Now, some would like to go with the likes of, I believe it's the Gunner, so that way when they apply an armor kit, they have a huge amount of bonus armor. But you do run out of armor kits fairly quickly if you go that route. So at least this way, you're just popping into cover and you're proccing it, and then you're good to go. So that is just one alteration, or variation I should say, of this particular build. But it is utilizing 4 pieces of Bulwark, 1 piece of Hildegard, and then 1 piece of Harris. Now, if you don't want to be, I guess, a little extra tankier, that 1 piece of Hildegard does give you 5% armor. You can actually substitute that for a Yagir chest piece, in which you can find in caches or in the dark zone predominantly, because 1 piece of Yagir will give you 10% hazard protection and further the potency and the immunity of this particular build when it comes to all status effects of every single variety. So let's hop into it, starting first with the mask. Fairly decent mask, 166, 110 armor. It has the 10% hazard protection, and then of course it has a blue defensive mod slot. And I have this is the best mod that I have. I'm short on when it comes to mods. But if you have better mods or maxed out mods when it comes to ensnare resistance, blind resistance, burn, bleed resistance, then I believe it goes up to 10%. So your numbers will reflect that, and your hazard protection also will be increased. But 8.5% is the best one I have, and they're, whether it be the ensnare, people in the dark zone, or canisters, or just NPCs that the Molotov throwers, the flamers, or the come gun runners. Then you can just switch out, whatever mod you so choose in this particular slot. On to the holster. It took me forever to find this holster, but as you can see, I got 3 of them, and they're all pretty abysmal. But this is the best one that I was able to find, so that's why my armor is not at 1.7 million, because this particular piece only has 129 7 to 27 armor, and of course 8.6% hazard protection. That's the best roll I have been able to find this thus far. Sorry, the stuttering, I'm tripping over my words, apologies. But it's short of 1.4% hazard protection, so if you got 10%, then you'll be maxed out on it. Now the third piece, 126, 826 armor, and then of course max hazard protection on it at 10%. And then the knee pads, 132, 23 armor with 10% hazard protection. So as you can see, on 3 out of the 4 pieces, I'm missing out on, I'd say around an accumulation of 150k armor. And if you have better pieces, then you will have much more armor than what I have, and as you see on the screen. But for those 4 pieces, you get 10% total armor, 3% armor regen, and of course makeshift repairs whenever you or your shield takes damage, 20% of that amount is repaired, both over 15 seconds. So that's going to help further your survivability. And as you'll see in that gameplay, or as you have seen in that gameplay, the armor regen, even though I don't have it stacked on every single piece as an attribute roll, it kicks in fairly quickly and actually will save you tons and tons of armor kits along the way. But if you don't want that extra 20%, I look at that 20% as a 20% negator. Because when you take damage, it kind of nullifies 20% of it. It really is giving it back to you. But, you know, you can look at it either or. It's just, you know, might be easier just saying, you know, the incoming damage will be negated by 20%. It's just easier for me to view it that way. But, you know, you're getting 20% of your armor repaired back, or you're negating 20% of the damage coming in. It's just however you look at it. But you want to go with armor and the hazard protection. And of course, on the Matador, it's weird, I haven't been able to find any other brand set that actually has Adrenaline Rush talent. I've only been able to find the perfect version of it that comes on Walker Harris. Now, I would like to know the stats as far as the percentage on the normal general variation of the Adrenaline Rush, because if I could, I'd probably switch this out and go with a Yagir chest piece or a Yagir backpack, and gives you 10% hazard protection. And this is only 5% weapon damage, so it's the weapon damage is very minuscule. So yeah, I would probably keep the 5% total armor that one piece of Yagir, or not Yagir, but Heliogard gives you, and then go with a Yagir piece here to get an additional 10% hazard protection. But this piece, as you can see, I have only one red, which is 14.6 weapon damage. Then I have armor regeneration, and then 9.8% hazard protection. It's only 48.27 armor regen per second, so I'd probably like to switch that out if I could once I find a better piece, and maybe go with some either explosive resistance or something along that line, so that way if someone is using, let's say, either Seekers or something that causes like a bleed status effect like the big main Seeker, but it has an explosion effect first, or they're trying to use a variation of a sticky bomb, which you do see a lot of that as far as the burn variation of the sticky bomb, then that additional explosive resistance will definitely come in handy. And then I have an offensive mod slot. Now, when it comes to offensive mod slot, I mean, it's either, you know, headshot damage, critical hit damage, critical hit chance. That's basically all that I have to choose from. And the only thing that's going to benefit me more than anything is just going with, you know, a headshot damage, because headshot damage doesn't require crit chance. It's just additional damage if you ding them in the noggin. But if you don't know, Perfect Adrenaline Rush, like I stated before, whenever you are within 10 meters of an enemy, gain 23% bonus armor for 5 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. Now on to that sixth and final piece, which is that Heliogard chest piece. Pretty decent chest piece I was able to come across, even though it had crappy armor regen on it and fairly decent above average regular armor on it. I was able to put hazard protection on it, and as you can see, another 8.5% burn resistance. And of course, it has Intimidate. While you have bonus armor, amplifies total weapon damage by 35% to enemies within 10 meters. So with having that one red, as you can see seen in the gameplay, my survivability is not a question or issue. So that's why I was more confident in going with the red there. But if you want to be a full tank, then by all means switch it out to the blue. But at least you get 35% weapon damage here. And of course, if somebody's running the tardigrade chest piece here, then you're going to get bonus armor from that. And if they're running Vanguard system, then you're going to get bonus armor from that, especially within a group. So you can basically consistently always have Intimidate procced at all times. So it is a really, really fun. I definitely would suggest to go try it out. Then, like I said, this is just a variation. I already put out one variation of the Adrenaline Rush Intimidate, and now this is another. So you keep suggesting what you want me to do in the comment section, and I will definitely get on it. Now, the weapons of choice, most people are running the Lady Death. I have the Lady Death, but I came across this converted SMG9, which is I used to call the little cricket. 78.5, 825 RPM, 52 mag, maxed out SMG damage, maxed out crit chance, maxed out crit damage, and then I went with Optimist. And of course, my go-to, the Pestilence, even though I prefer it the way it used to be with the Mist of Piss instead of what it is now. So maybe they'll change it back, but let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section below. Do you like the Pestilence the way it is or the way it was? But anyways, 14% LNG damage, 8, and then 5, and then that gives you that tick of Plague of the Outcast. So that way, you know, when I am reloading or trying to regenerate, you know, my armor, or whatever the case may be, I can just pop out and then spray them down. But you can use whatever you want as far as weaponry wise. It just all depends on your personal preference and playstyle. And of course, my sidearm talent is perfect. Future perfect weapon kills grant +1 skill tier for 15 seconds. Stacks up to 3 times. Weapon kills at skill tier 6 grant overcharge for 15 seconds. So that actually, can make my skills a little bit stronger. It just, all depends on your personal preference. I went with the Defender drone just in case I do get pushed and like I was in that hairy situation at that level 4 control point, then I can just pop it until I can get back into cover or back away to regenerate my armor. And then when it comes to secondary skill, you can use whatever you want. You can go with like the flame turret and keep it on standby also, so if you do get pushed by NPCs or whatnot, then you can kind of use it as a deterrent and do a little bit of crowd control. But whether you be solo or in a group, it definitely comes in handy, because even though you're out to armor kits or you're, say, a skill build, which is this is not, but in a skill build you're running like 2 skills that are doing damage but with no heals, and you're relying on more or less med kits. At least with this way, you have the armor regen. So if you are out of armor kits and you are not using any skill for healing or healing repair, then that armor regen definitely comes in handy, and you can see it in the gameplay. It actually comes up fairly quickly, and it is really, really nice. Now, the other thing that I would point out, instead of the Optimist here, you could go with the likes of Preservation. Now, Preservation, killing an enemy repairs 10% of your armor, so you could actually use that on a weapon here, or like on the SMG or whatever weapon you so choose, and that way you're getting back 10% of armor 5 seconds, and headshot kills improve the repair by additional 10%. You can also use this so that way that will increase your survivability. So there's different variations, different types of playstyle. It depends on if you're wanting to go all Rambo and doing cover to cover moves, moving in and out, and plus it all depends on if you're solo, duo, or in a squad. But definitely try out this variation of it, and I'm on to the next variation of it, and it'll be more focused on a DPS variety of this combo, so definitely stay tuned. I appreciate all the love and support. If you're enjoying the content, like I said, these are just different variations of the things out there. I know there are probably some better ways according to the numbers and statistics of things, but I just want to give different variations and different options, because not all of us have the same pieces, the same talents, the same gear, and we're still farming and looking for them. So until then, I'm just showing you different forms and methods to have viable options until you find the pieces you're looking for, so that way you can still keep your head in the game. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you fudging later.